You know that feeling. The phone buzzes, someone asks you for something, and before your brain even processes if you have the time or energy, your thumbs are already typing, "Sure, I'd love to." But on the inside, your stomach is in knots. You feel resentful, you are exhausted, and you're wondering, why did I just do that again? You often label this as being nice or having a servant's heart. We tell ourselves it is the Christian thing to do. But what if I told you that your inability to say no isn't a sign of your kindness? What if it's actually a trauma response? Today, we are taking the mask off of people pleasing. We are going to look at the psychological roots of why we do this and the biblical truth that sets us free from the fear of man. Welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Rookie. We talk about faith, strength in walking in the fullness of who God created us to be. Today, we're tackling the nice Christian girl syndrome. For years, I thought that burning myself out for everyone else was what it meant to be a godly woman. I thought boundaries were selfish, but all that led to was bitterness and a fragmented identity. Here's the hard truth we need to swallow today. There is a massive difference between serving people out of love and pleasing people out of fear. One is worship to God, the other is idolatry of people. In this video, I'm going to use a method similar to what we see in trauma recovery. Understanding the root and combining it with the practical tool of the identity exchange we talked about in the last video on anxiety. Go check it out. By the end of this 10 minutes, you will have a script of how to say no without the guilt trip. We first have to understand why we do it. And this is where we need to look at how God wired our brains. Psychologists like those at Therapy in a Nutshell often talk about trauma responses: fight, flight, and freeze. But there is a fourth one that Christian women struggle with the most: the fawn response. Fawning is when you try to avoid conflict or danger by appeasing the threat. It's becoming small, agreeable, and overly helpful to ensure you are safe. If you grew up in a home where love was conditional, where you had to perform to be praised, or where you had to walk on eggshells to avoid explosion, your brain learned a survival strategy. If I make everyone happy, I will be safe. Fast forward to adulthood. You aren't a helpless child anymore, but your nervous system doesn't know that. When your boss looks disappointed or a friend pulls away, your brain screams, "Danger! Fix it! Apologize! Overfunction!" This is what Tim Fletcher refers to when he talks about complex trauma. You aren't just trying to be nice. You are trying to survive. You are regulating your anxiety by managing everyone else's emotions. But here's the spiritual danger. When we live in the fawn response, we are elevating people to the place of God. We are saying, "Your opinion of me defines my safety." Proverbs 29:25 puts it bluntly. The fear of man lays a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is safe. People pleasing is a snare. It is a trap that keeps you from the destiny God has for you because you're too busy building everyone else's kingdom instead of walking in your own calling. So how do we break this wiring? Well, we have to look at the life of Jesus. If you read the Gospels, you will see something shocking. Jesus disappointed people constantly. People wanted him to be like a political leader. He said no. Martha wanted him to tell Mary to get to work. He said no. Crowds wanted him to keep healing. He left to go pray alone. Jesus had perfect boundaries. Why? Because he was perfectly submitted to the Father. This brings us back to the concept of abating from my last video. You can check it out. When you are drawing your worth, your safety, and your identity from Christ, you don't need people to validate you. True service comes from the overflow of a cup filled by God. People pleasing comes from an empty cup trying to siphon approval from others just to feel okay. When you say yes, when you mean no, you're actually lying. When you present a false version of yourself to the world, You're offering resentment wrapped up in a smile. God desires truth in the inward parts. He would rather you give an honest no than a dishonest yes. Okay, we know the root, okay? Trauma and fear, and we know the truth, abating. Now, how do we actually do this in real life? I want to give you a 3-step protocol. This is how you retrain your brain and your spirit. First step, the sacred pause. The phone response is automatic, it's fast. To break it, you need to buy yourself time. From now on, make it a rule. You never give an answer immediately. When someone asks you for something, your default script is, let me check my capacity and get back to you. That's it. You aren't saying no yet. You're just stopping the runaway train. Step 2, the identity exchange. During that pause, you're going to feel anxiety. You're going to think, they're going to be mad at me. This is where you use the tool you learned previously. You exchange the lie for the truth, the lie. If I say no, I am selfish, I am bad, and I'm unsafe. The exchange. I am a beloved daughter of God. My value is not determined by my utility to others. Saying no to them allows me to say yes to what God has actually called me to. Validate the fear, but do not bow to it. Remind your nervous system that you are safe in Christ. Step 3 is the compassionate boundary. Now you delivered the answer, and you do it without over-explaining. People pleaser love to give 15 excuses for why they can't do something. Oh, I would, but my cat's sick, and my car is acting up. Stop. You don't need an excuse. Try the script. I appreciate you asking, but I don't have the capacity for that right now. Or, this sounds like a great opportunity, but I'm focusing on my family or health or work this season, so I have to pass. Clear is kind. Ambiguity is just fear in disguise. Listen to me, sister. The enemy loves a people pleaser because a people pleaser is easily controlled. If he can keep you running ragged, trying to make everyone like you, he keeps you too exhausted to be a threat to his kingdom. Because a woman who knows who she is, a woman who gets her yes and her no directly from the Father, she is dangerous, she is powerful. It will feel uncomfortable at first. You might disappoint some people, but remember, you're not responsible for their reactions to your boundary. You're responsible for your obedience to God. If this hits home for you, I want you to type, I am chosen, not just useful in the comments. Let's declare that truth over our lives. And if you're ready to take this deeper and really cement that unshakable confidence, you need to watch this next video on godly confidence. It is the next step in rebuilding your identity. Click here and I'll see you over there. Go on.